Cameron is said to have pushed hard for the British renegotiation package to be included on the agenda for the next European Council meeting. But how much support will the components of the UK reform agenda find? ECFR experts discussed this at a recent event in our London offices. Some warned that in many European countries, other topics are currently overshadowing the Britain in Europe question.
So in Berlin, the question of Britain leaving the European Union is really not one, surprisingly, that makes the big headlines at the moment. There is concern about the very big questions of where the European Union is going overall with regard to migration, with regard to the Eurozone still, but the British debate is largely absent. Having said that, of course, in the policy circles, there is and there have been conversations with the Brits, and in some areas there is room for agreement in the baskets that the British government put forward. Germany is clearly a country that has nothing against more competitiveness in the EU. Devil is often in the detail, of course. The question of ever closer union really is one that is not considered to be one where Germany says, well, you know, we're against sort of being a little bit flexible on this, because Germans are not precisely dreaming of ever closer union every night, and it's considered at the same time to be settled since last June, when the European Council looked at this and adopted a declaration. On the question of the ins and outs of the Eurozone, really, that is one where Germany is willing to acknowledge that, of course, there are different ways of looking at this currency, and an outside perspective might be perfectly legitimate. On the other hand, there is an awareness that the Eurozone still needs to reform and needs to deepen, and that ultimately that might not be reconcilable with countries outside of the Eurozone having a strong say in this. And for Germany is an existential interest to get this going. And I believe the devil is really in the detail here again.
Many came to the conclusion that migration and how to deal with it will be the decisive factor.
I think the key here is going to be political will. We will see after the discussion at the council dinner this week the extent to which that political will is there around the table. Clearly, the UK communication around this has got very hung up on the 4-year rule on preventing migrants having access to in-work benefits. And clearly the way forward is going to be about moving away from that specific suggestion. There is no support around other EU capitals for that, and finding something which allows Cameron to show that he has got a serious measure which will restrict the pull factors in the UK of migration, but which at the same time doesn't raise concerns around the principle of discrimination. And I think my feeling is that desire is there, both in other European capitals to find an answer. My feeling is also that ultimately in the UK, and particularly in the Conservative Party, even those who are pushing for this measure know that that's not the silver bullet that it's been presented at in terms of being the real reason why people move to the UK to work. So I think the way forward is going to be about getting beyond this hang-up on that specific and finding a workable measure.